محمد وآل بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم كن لوليك الحجة بن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم ولعن أعداءهم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. عن فاطمة الزهراء عليها السلام بنت رسول الله قال سمعت فاطمة أنها قالت دخل علي أبي رسول الله في بعض الأيام فقال السلام عليك يا فاطمة فقلت عليك السلام. قال إني أجد في بدني ضعفا فقلت له أعيذك بالله يا ابتال من الذنوب. فقال يا فاطمة ائتني بالكساء اليماني فغطيني به فأتيته بالكساء اليماني فغطيته به وصرت أنظر إليه وإذا وجهه يتلالم كأنه البدر في ليلة تمامه وكماله. فما كانت إلا الساعة وإذا بولدي الحسن قد أقبل وقال السلام عليك يا أمه. فقلت وعليك السلام يا قرة عيني وثمرة فؤادي. فقال يا أمه إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة جدي رسول الله. فقلت نعم إن جدك تحت الكساء. فأقبل الحسن نحو الكساء وقال السلام عليك يا جداه يا رسول الله. أتأذن لي أن أدخل معك تحت الكساء؟ فقال وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا صاحب حوزي قد أذنت لك. فدخل معه تحت الكساء فما كانت إلا ساعة وإذا بولدي الحسين قد أقبلا وقال السلام عليك يا أمه. فقلت عليك السلام يا قرة عيني وثمرة فؤادي. فقال لي يا أمه إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة جدي رسول الله. فقلت نعم إن جدك وأخاك تحت الكساء. فدنا الحسين نحو الكساء وقال السلام عليك يا جدا. السلام عليك يا من اختاره الله. أتأذن لي أن أكون معكما تحت الكساء. فقال وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا شافع أمتي. قد أذنت لك. فدخلا معهما تحت الكساء. فأقبل عند ذلك أبو الحسن علي بن أبي طالب وقال السلام عليك يا بنت رسول الله. فقلت وعليك السلام يا أبا الحسن ويا أمير المؤمنين. فقال يا فاطمة إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة أخي وابن عمي رسول الله. فقلت نعم ها هو مع ولديك تحت الكساء. فأقبل علي نحو الكساء وقال السلام عليك يا رسول الله. أتأذن لي أن أكون معكم تحت الكساء. قال له وعليك السلام يا أخي ووصي وخليفتي وصاحب لوائي. قد أذنت لك. فدخل علي تحت الكساء. ثم أتيت نحو الكساء وقلت السلام عليك يا أبتاه يا رسول الله. تأذن لي أن أكون معكم تحت الكساء. قال وعليك السلام يا بنتي ويا بضعتي. قد أذنت لك. فدخلت تحت الكساء. فلما اكتملنا جميعا تحت الكساء أخذ بي رسول الله بطرفي الكساء وأومى بيده اليمنى إلى السماء وقال اللهم إن هؤلاء أهل بيتي وخاصتي وحاجتي لحمهم لحمي ودمهم دمي يؤلمني ما يؤلمهم ويحزنني ما يحزنهم أنا حرب لمن حاربهم وسلم لمن سالمهم وعدو لمن عاداهم ومحب لمن أحبهم إنهم مني وأنا منهم فاجعل صلواتك وبركاتك ورحمتك وغفرانك ورضوانك علي وعليهم وأذهب عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. فقال الله عز وجل يا ملائكتي ويا سكان سماواتي بما خلقت سماء مبنية ولا أرضا مدنية ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مضيئا ولا فلكا يدور ولا بحرا يجري ولا فلكا يسري إلا في محبة هؤلاء الخمسة الذين هم تحت الحساب. فقال الأمين جبريل يا ربي ومن تحت الكساء؟ فقال الله عز وجل هم أهل بيت النبوة ومعادن الرسالة هم فاطمة وأبوها ومعالها وبنوها. فقال جبريل يا ربي أتأذن لي أن أهبط إلى الأرض لأكون معهم سادسا؟ فقال الله نعم قد أذنت لك. فهبط الأمين جبريل وقال السلام عليك يا رسول الله. العلي الأعلى يقرئك السلام ويخصك بالتحية والإكرام ويقول لك وعزتي وجلالي إني ما خلقت سماء مبنية ولا أرضا مدحيا ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مضيئا ولا فلكا يدور ولا بحرا يجري ولا فلكا يسري إلا لأجلكم ومحبتكم. وقد أذن لي أن أدخل معكم فهل تأذن لي يا رسول الله؟ فقال رسول الله عليك السلام يا أمين وحي الله إنه نعم قد أذنت لك. فدخل جبريل تحت الكساء. فقال لأبي إن الله قد أوحى إليكم يقول إنما يريد الله ليذهب عنكم الرجس أهل البيت ويطهركم تطهيرا. فقال علي لأبي يا رسول الله أخبرني ما لجلوسنا هذا تحت الكساء من الحزن عند الله. فقال النبي صلى الله عليه وآله والذي بعثني بالحق نبيا واصطفاني بالرسالة نجيا ما ذكر خبرنا هذا في محافل أهل الله وفي جمع من شيعتنا ومحبينا إلا ونزلت عليهم الرحمة وحفت بهم الملائكة واستغفرت لهم بلا يتفرقوا. فقال علي عليه السلام إذا والله فزنا وفاز شيعتنا ورب الكعبة. فقال أبي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله يا علي والذي بعثني بالحق نبيا واصطفاني بالرسالة نجيا ما ذكر خبر هذا في محفل من محافل أهل الله ففي جمع من شيعتنا ومحبينا وفيهم مهموم إلا وفرج الله هما ولا مغموم إلا وكشف الله هما ولا طالب حاجة إلا وكذا الله حاجته. فقال علي عليه السلام إذا والله فزنا وسعدنا وكذلك شيعتنا فازوا وسعدوا في الدنيا والآخرة رب الكعبة. اللهم صل على محمد. بعد صلوات. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على سيدنا ومولانا محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين. الصلاة والسلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله على الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك وعليك مني جميعا سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار ولا جعله الله آخر العهد بزيارتكم. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين على أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين، خصوصا سيدي ومولاي أبا الفضل العباس ابن أمير المؤمنين، وأختها المظلومة الصابرة يا أم المصائب، يا زينب الكبرى بنت أمير المؤمنين. السلام عليكم يا أهل بيت النبوة ومعادن الرسالة جميعا، ورحمة الله وبركاته. اللهم لعن قتلة الحسين وأصحابه، اللهم لعن قتلة الحسين وأصحابه، اللهم لعن قتلة الحسين وأصحابه، وخص باللعن على أبا بكر وعمر وعثمان وعائشة وحفصة ومعاوية وهند وأم الحكم وجميع أعداء محمد وأهل بيت محمد عليه السلام. أعظم الله أجورنا وأجوركم بمصابنا وذكر استشهاد أبا الفضل العباس ابن أمير المؤمنين وأبا عبد الله الحسين وجميع شهداء كربلاء عليهم السلام. هذه محفل مجلس مخصوص بنسبة شهادة أبو الفضل العباس يا ابن أمير المؤمنين يا ابن فاطمة الزهراء سلام الله عليه. मालिक बानी मजलिस बिलखुसूस मुसाफे की तौफीक़ात में भी बना इजाफा अता फरमाएं। शुरका और अराकीन इमाम बारगाह अल-हसन अलैहिस्सलाम जिन नसीयों का विश्व मैयत इस बज़्म को आरास्ता करने में मालिक उन सभी की तौफीक़ात में भी बना इजाफा अता फरमाएं। बतुफ़ैल बाज़-ए अब्बास अलमदार अलैहिस्सलाम बुरीदा शानी मौला अब्बास अलैहिस्सलाम के सदक़े में जितने बिलखुसूस जवानान यहाँ बारगाह अलैहिस्सलाम की खिदमत कर रहे हैं, मालिक उन्हें उनके ज़ोर बाजू के अंदर मज़ीद इज़ाफ़ा अता फरमाए। नज़र बद से महफूज रखे, सिरात मुस्तकीम पे कायम दायम रखे, सिरात अज़ा सिरात विलायत और सिरात बरात के ऊपर कायम दायम। खुशनुदिया मोहम्मद व आले मोहम्मद बावाज़ बुलंद सलावत अल्लाहुम्मा सल्लि अला वअज्जिल फरजहुम वलअन आजम। हाज़िर महफिल इब्तिदाए मजलिस के अंदर कम से मद्दा अली रज़ा से मुल्तमिस तशरीफ लेके आए बारगाह मोहम्मद व आले मोहम्मद में अपना नज़राना पेश फरमाएं। इनकी हौसला अफजाई के लिए बवाज़े बुलंद सलावत अल्लाहुम्मा
मोहम्मद वाले मोहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु اللهم كل وليك الهجنة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه رزقك وتمتعه فيها طويلا. والمؤمن وآل محمد صلى الله We the Shia today gather, the son of Ali we all remember. We'll all till dawn shall mourn together. We'll cry for the son of Haydar. Every night, every day, I'll say Abbas. Abbas, at your birth, Ali would cry. He pulled the tears for the day you'd die, the day on which on the sands you'd lie, your hands cut off, an arrow in your eye. Haydar would mourn your death, Abbas. My need to reach the cold water in order to get to Hussein's daughter, and for a 6-month son called Asghar. and for your beloved Hussein master, but you did not drink the water, Abbas. We the Shia shall never understand how it felt for you to fall on that land, on the scorching and red-hot sands, without your two right and left hands. What the sacrifice you gave Abbas. But Muhammad Wali Muhammad Salawat.
عظم الله وجودنا ووجودك. दुआ है मालिकों की बारगाह के अंदर बतौर आज़ादारी शहदा सलामुल्लाह अलैहि मालिक कम सिन मंज़ाली रज़ा की तौफ़ीक़ात में इज़ाफ़ा अता फ़रमाएं, इनके जोश और गलबे इनके ज़ोर बयान के अंदर इज़ाफ़ा अता फ़रमाएं। कोई गम न दे सिवाय गम अहमद ताहीर अलैहिस्सलाम की और में हासिदीन की हसद नज़र बद से महफूज़ फरमाएं। मैं निहायत मुतवाना मुल्तमिस हूँ बरादरी ईमानी इज़ा मेहदी से तशरीफ़ लेके यहाँ बारगाह अबुल फ़ज़ल अब्बास अलैहिस्सलाम के अपना नज़राना पेश फरमाएं। खुशनुदी मोहम्मद व आले मोहम्मद बावाज़ में सलावत।
पाक सेदा बाबुल हवाइजा पाक बीबी उम्मुल बनीन सलाम व सल्लल्लाहु अलैहा बुलंद सलावत।
لرضا أولاد السيدة طاهرة صلوات محمد وآل محمد. لحب الأمير المؤمنين يعصوب الدين صلوات محمد وآل محمد. لحب اليتيم سيد الشطابة أحمد شكرا يا ابن مدخل الحوائج يا ابن مدخل باب الحوائج يا أبو الفضل عباس صلوات محمد وآل محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين. ثم الصلاة والسلام على سيدنا أشرف الأنبياء والكرم خاتم النبيين رسول رب العالمين شمس العارفين حبيب القلوب الصادقين يا ولي المؤمنين صاحب الجود والكرم مصباح الدين والألم. من رقب على العقال في الدنيا، من حمل على البراق إلى سدرة المنتهى، من إمام الأنبياء في الصلاة وقاب قوسين محبوب رب المشرقين والمغربين، مولانا ومولاي الثقلين، جد الحسن المسموم والحسين الأتشان الغريب المظلوم، جد السيد المحسن الصغير الشهيد الجواد الأحمد أبي السيدة طاهرة وأبو القاسم محمد صلوات. ثم الصلاة والسلام على أخي ووسي وخليفتي بعدي بلا فصل، صاحب الأحد خندق والخيبر، صاحب الأحد خندق والخيبر، الذي أمه سميت حيدر، من الذي ينحو جبرائيل قال: لا فتى إلا علي ولا سيف إلا ذو الفقار. من ولد في الكعبة المكرمة، من زوج مع السيدة طاهرة، من هجر هجرتين، من ضرب بسيفين، فارس أحد بدر وحنين، أبو الشباب الصدقين، أبو الغاب الحوائج، صاحب دندن في كل حرب، يد الله في كل كرب. هو عين الله، هو ظن الله، هو وجه الله، هو جنب الله، هو نور الله، هو صوت الله. عندما رسول الله قاب قوسين ومعه أسد الله ورسوله، غالب كل غالب، هو أول، هو آخر، هو ظاهر، هو باطن، هو على كل شيء عليم، مظهر العجائب، إمام المتقين، أمير المؤمنين، علي بن أبي طالب صلوات الله عليه. ثم السلام والسلام على زوجته المرضية الصديقة الطاهرة، سيدة نساء العالمين، يا بضعة رسول الله، يا أم أبيها. Praise and blessings be upon the Lady of Light, who on the day of judgment Rasulullah will ask, where is Sayyida? Imam al-Muttaqeen will look and he will ask, where is the beloved Lady of Light? Where is Sayyida? The angels will part, they will see Sayyida descending with two things in her hands. In her right will be the right arm of Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas. In her left will be the left arm of Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas. They will ask, what is this that you have brought, Sayyida? She will say, this is the shifa for the Ummah of Hussein. This is enough for the shifa of the Ummah of Hussein. وآخر السلام على السيد الشباب أهل الجنة وتسة المعصومين من ذرية الحسين حتى إمام الحجة الصلوات. قال الله في كتابه الكريم: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين صدق الله العلي العظيم. صلوات الله. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Holy Quran, in Surah Al-Hamd, also known as Surah Al-Fatiha, the first chapter of the Holy Quran, in Ayah 5, you do we worship, you do we ask for help. These are the true words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Salawat Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. The ayah that I've mentioned to you is a famous one. I don't think that there's a single individual in this world who knows anything about the religion or that claims to be a lover of the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salatu wasalam that has never heard this ayah. When you've read it, when someone passes away, you read this ayah. When you're in your salah, you read this ayah. When you're in your most heaviest amount of difficulty, you should read this ayah. You do we worship, and only you do we ask for. The important thing is, when you want to understand the meaning of an ayah, you have to look at the origin of the ayah. Where was it revealed? In what context is it placed in? What is the house of this ayah? The house of this ayah is known as Surah Al-Fatiha. The masters of knowledge explain to us the value of Surah Al-Fatiha. They say that Surah Al-Fatiha is not known as just Surah Al-Fatiha. It is known as Al-Kitab, the mother of the book. All of you know the value of a mother. Jannah is under the feet of your mother. If your mother dies while holding you in childbirth, she dies the death of 1,000 martyrs. Your mother is your essence, which means when you find any guidance in the Holy Quran, it's in Surah Al-Fatiha. When you find any Shariat in the Holy Quran, it's in Surah Al-Fatiha. If you find any help in the Holy Quran, it's in Surah Al-Fatiha. If you find a dalil in the Holy Quran, it's in Surah Al-Fatiha. For it has a hidden meaning and an apparent meaning. But the question we would like to address is a very important one. For we all as lovers, when we want to call upon help, there's only one name that comes to our lips. When our child is about to fall, we say there's only one name you should mention. When you walk and you're in difficulty, you say there's only one mushkil kusha you should call upon. When you collapse in sajda, there's only one name you need to do dhikr of. For food that you may have is normal, recite this name, that food becomes taboo. Hold on to that food long enough, it becomes azri. If you touch a cloth but say, no, I give this cloth under that name, that cloth now becomes a barakah. The angels start to do tawaf around that cloth. But when someone says to you, but the Holy Quran says, you do we worship, you do we ask for help, the Arabic is different. The Arabic mentions one person. Anyone who knows Arabic, the word that's used is iyaka, ka for one person, not kum. So the question must be asked, are we doing something incorrect or are they doing something incorrect? There is no gray area. There is either haqq or batil. There is either ilm or jahiliyyah. Now we know that where we stand is on the city of the door of knowledge. So the question must be asked, you bring your dalil, we'll bring our dalil. Salawat Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. When someone asks, okay, let's break the verse down. Iyaka na'budu. What is the meaning of na'budu? To worship? What is the other word? You do we ask for? Nasta'in, min al-nasr, help. So I ask you, what is worship? Who tells you how to worship? What is the origin of the source that you go to know how to do ibadat? Did Allah tell you? You have to go to a source. There is only two. Either Rasulullah tells you this is salah. Either the Holy Quran tells you this is where you pray, how you pray, and so forth. So when you ask for help, you either go to see what the Rasulullah asks for, or you go and see what the Holy Prophet does, alayhi salatu wassalam. So that means that our examples, whoever you are, from whatever origin you are, you have to come back to the source. So let's see what the source says. Let's see what the Holy Quran says. Or if you ask anyone, what is the greatest form of ibadah? Which is the greatest question. What act can one human being do to show that he has given the ultimate submission? What did Adam do? What did Ibrahim do? What did Isa and Musa do? They fell into sujood. Correct? The greatest form of ibadah is sajda. Mola Kainat alayhi salatu wassalam says, Salawat Muhammad wa Muhammad, when a believer collapses into sajda, if he knew how close Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was to him, he'd never raise his head. But only Mola has that knowledge. Only Mola knows that proximity. That's why Mola says, Al-Yawm fustu bi Rabbil Kaaba, because he identified who he was talking to. So if the greatest of acts is sajda, I ask you, why did Allah ask someone else to do sajda to someone else? Ajib. We get called those people that do shirk when we do sajda to the taghut, but Allah is saying do sajda, not for me but to someone else. Ayat of the Holy Quran comes, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. وَإِذَا قُلْنَا لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ اسْجُدُوا لِآدَمَ فسجدوا إلا إبليس أبى واستكبر وكان من الكافرين. صدق الله العلي العظيم. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Holy Quran, and pay very close attention to the grammar, are you not remindful of when we told the angels to submit? All submitted, all did sajda except Iblis. He refused, he was too proud, he was part of the disbelievers. These are the true words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Which means Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the one that you say only you do we worship, says to the ranks of the angels, I want you to prostrate to Adam. Why? What raised the level of Adam? What increased the value of Adam? What allowed Adam to be of such a level that the ranks of the angels began to break? They collapsed into sajda at the feet of Adam. We go to the master of all masters, the father of the master of our time. We go to Imam al-Askari alayhi salatu wassalam, Salawat Muhammad. And he's asked, tell us, Ya Ibn Rasulullah, what were the names that Adam knew that caused the angels to do sajda? What was the ilm that he was given? He said, بِحَقِّ رَسُولَ اللَّهِ بِحَقِّ إِسْمِ أَمِيرَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ بِحَقِّ إِسْمِ السَّيِّدَ الطَّاهِرَةِ بِحَقِّ سَيِّدِ الشَّبَابِ أَهْلِ الْجَنَّةِ. By the name of Rasulullah was given to him. The name of the master of masters, the prince of the believers was given to him. He knew the name of Sayyidah. He knew the name of Al-Mujtaba. He knew the name of Sayyid al-Shuhada. He knew all of their sons one by one. Then he knew the prophets and the Shia Ali ibn Abi Talib. Just because he knew that knowledge, the angels collapsed in sajda in front of us. Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'in. The interesting thing here is that the verse doesn't say Allah commanded them. The verse says we commanded them. Who is the we? Who is joined with Allah that he asked him to tell them what to do? Or when Mola Kainat is asked, tell us about that time, he said, I told them to do sajda to Adam. The voice of Allah is him. The wajh of Allah is him. The hand of Allah is him. When he gives the amr, it is worship. He do we go for the worship. Through him, by him, to get to Allah. You cannot get to the house without going to the bar. The question then comes, as clear as it is, that if that is the individual whom worship goes through, do we only have this within our books? No. For you'll find a very interesting tradition. We know it well. Al-Haq ma'a Ali ibn Abi Talib wa huwa ma'a al-Haq. Wherever you go, the Bible, the Torah, the Injil, the Zabur, if you find his name, you'll find his Haq. If you find his name, you will find his miracle. For even amongst the books of our enemies, they say, when you look at the face of him, it's doing fine. When you mention his name, you're doing the dhikr of Allah. For every name of Allah is mentioned by Amir al-Mu'mineen. The question then comes, Iyaka nasta'in, who do you ask for help? We find this example in the most beautiful of places. Come to Khandaq if you want to see the Nasr of Allah. You want to see what a lion does to a prey? Come to Khandaq. You want to see what a warlord does to someone who claims to be strong? come to Khandaq. But what you will find is that a ditch has been dug. A few individuals believe that they have the shuja'ah to challenge the Messenger of God, Mal'un Amr bin Dawood and a few of his companions jump over the ditch. They begin to poke at the tent of Rasulullah. Say, which one of your champions wants to come and fight us? You know who I am. And to give you a bit of an insight, for those who don't know the history of Amr bin Dawood, he wasn't your normal person. He was known as an individual that the entire Arab world was terrified of. Once 1,000 people tried to rob his caravan. In his sleep, he woke up. You know what it's like when you wake up from your sleep, you don't have your senses around you. When he went back to bed and woke up the next day, all 1,000 companions were dead. This is why the Arabs were terrified of him. So when he starts to poke the spear and says, who is your champion? You find the companions are very scared. It's almost like it was back in Uhud, they're that scared. Just they don't have a place to run this time because they're in a tent. They say, who's going to fight? The state is such that if a bird sat on their head, it wouldn't move. They're so still. But the thing is, when the Holy Prophet called, Allah answers. When the Holy Prophet says, who will come to protect the religion? Allah says, I have your answer. I have the jawab. I'll send my hand with my sword on my mimbar, and you will see the answer I will give. For only one individual stands up and says, Ana mawjud ya Rasul, I am here. When that individual comes forward, the companions look at him and say, only a son of Abu Talib can stand in that way. Only a son of Abu Talib can stand in that way. As he stands, he walks to Rasulullah, our master says, clear the tent. And he does two very interesting things. The Holy Prophet ﷺ starts to take off his cover and he puts it on Amir al-Mu'mineen. He takes off his shoes and he begins to put it on Amir al-Mu'mineen. He takes off his abba, he begins to shroud Amir al-Mu'mineen. In the tent where no one can see. As soon as Rasulullah ﷺ exits the tent, he does something else. He takes off his turban and he puts it on the head of our master. One must ask, why did you do that inside the tent? But you put your turban on him outside the tent. Marhum Allama Abbas Nasir answers beautifully. He says, because the Ummah won't fight after his cloak. The Ummah won't fight after his kabba or his shoes. But a king needs to give his crown to another king. So he wants everyone to know that this turban of ilm on my head is the same turban on Amir al-Mu'mineen's head. Subhanallah, as Mola begins to walk, it's as if Dur and Najaf are falling from his footsteps. The angels start to begin doing tasbih. When he looks at Amr bin Dawood, it's as if a lion is looking at what he's about to kill. Subhanallah, in history, you will never find such a scenario. Never will you find such a hero. For we find that the Messenger of God, when describing it to those who do not understand, he says, every footstep he takes is ibadah. Every breath he takes is tasbih. Every movement that he does is all of faith against all of that which disbelieves. And that is why people ask, why were the battles of Mola over so quickly? Because when you are total faith, you only need to make one strike, because each strike is yaqeen. That's why Mola says about our master that the strike of him on the day of Khandaq is equal to all of the ibadat of the jinn and the man in all of creation from the time of Adam until Yawm al-Qiyamah. Haqqul yaqeen, haqqul haqq. But we find that in some cases history repeats itself. For what you see in Khandaq, you find in Safin. Or there is another tent with another individual who was the nafs of Rasulullah. He's standing in front of a youth. And those illegitimate, disgusting people of Sham that claim any right of decency on this earth begin to challenge the person in that tent. One Mal'oon in particular, named Ibn Shasa, and his 7 sons says, I claim a fight with the greatest of your masters. Bring Amir al-Mu'mineen out. Mawla looks at this individual and says, I have the nasr for you on this day. So he brings one person to him. Mawla takes off his turban and puts his turban on this person. Mawla takes off his shirt and he puts his shirt on this person. Mawla says, Duldul, come to me. You're in the hand of this person. Mawla says, Dulfiqar, come to me. You're in the hand of this person. Let this person walk out with hijab on his face, because the way he walks is like Amir al-Mu'mineen. Every footstep that he takes, the angels start saying, has Mawla entered the battlefield? As he gets towards them, he slaughters the first son, the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth, the sixth, the seventh. The father, Ibn Shahsan, says, who is this one that killed all of my sons? Mawla strikes him, removes his head from his body. They say, remove the hijab. Tell us who you are. He said, Ana Qadar Bani Hashim ibn Amir al-Mu'mineen. I am the son of the one. I am Abbas. I am Abu Fadl. I am the one whose blood courses in his veins, screams out, Hayder, day and night. This is that individual whose mu'jizat exist in this world and beyond matter, space and time. For we find, when we ask for haja, you can only go to one or two doors. Bab al-Hawaj is the door that you go to. Sometimes we forget how to ask. Sometimes we're nervous. Sometimes we may doubt. But the beautifulest stories that you'll find of people that went to Mawla and asked are those that asked without care or concern. But we find an individual, for those who have gone to Karbala in the days of Ashura, on the 9th of Muharram is a very special night specifically for Mola Abbas alayhi salatu wasalam. That's when many people gather to do sabil. It's a duty of a very large group of people. One of those individuals says, I had a son. He was 11 years old, but from the moment of his birth, he was paralyzed. These things happen. Allah decides what is given, what is not given. The man said, on this night, I was going with a mush to give sabil. My son said to me, while lying on his bed, Father, do you believe in your master? Father, do you believe in your master? He said, Wallah al-Azim, there is no master greater than my master of who I do sabil for. He says, then take me to your master and ask him to cure me. Because your master has so much, you have so much certainty in your master. The man picked up his son on one arm and the mushk on the other. He stood in front of the maqam of Bab al-Hawaj and said, Mawla, cure my son. If you don't, tomorrow I will take this mushk and I will tear it apart and I will stop my duty. Heavy words, powerful words. He brought his son back. The night was getting later. No sign of anything. The father began to cry. He thought, what did I ask for? I even questioned the duty I give for Mawla. But I've said it. I have to stand behind what I said. His son saw him crying. His heart was broken. He said, Father, I believe. Take it back. If you can, take it back. His father said, I can't. He collapsed in his sleep, began to cry. Within moments, his son screams, Father, come to me. I have seen your master. I have seen your master. The father enters the room. The son is standing. He said, what happened? He said, your master came to me. And he said, stand. I said, I don't know how. The light began to illuminate. And he said, call my name and I will help you. Call Abu Fadl al-Abbas and you can stand. He said that the moment he did this, he said, tell your father that the sabil he does till this day, I respect that call he gave. When you make dua open. But there was another person that needed the nasr of Mola Abbas, and that person was on the day of Karbala, on the day of Ashura. The poetry is very clear for those who understand Farsi. It says, Haydar ya Migal Hussein, Fatima ya Migal Hussein, Zainab Yun Miguel Hussein, Hussein Miguel Abul Fadl, said that the people that love Haydar, they scream for Hussein. The people that love Sayyida, they call for Hussein. The people that weep for the Musa'ib of Sayyida Zainab alayhi salatu wassalam, they call for Hussein. But Hussein on the day of Ashura, he doesn't call for anyone. He says, bring me my brother Abul Fadl al-Abbas. That was the Nasr of Allah for Hussein was Mola Abbas. For we find when Abi Abdullah alayhi salatu wassalam arrived in the land of Karbala, he speaks to each one of the companions and he says, Habib, this is where you're going to fall. John, this is where your maqam of your shahada is. He goes to Akbar and he says, this is the place where the spear will hit your chest. This is your maqam. He looks at Qasim, he looks at the ribs of Qasim. He says, this is that area where the horses will crush your body. But then when Abi Abdullah goes towards the Furat, he begins to point at many different places. The companions say, how many shaheeds will die next to this place? He said, just one. He said, more life, only one shaheed will die here. Why are you pointing to this side, that side, and this side? He said, because this is where Abbas's arm will be. This is where Abbas's other arm will be. This is how his head will be split. This is where his chest will be broken. Allahu Akbar, we find on that day that Mola Abbas was only given one request. Of all the things Mola was built to do and sent on this earth to do, Abi Abdullah looks at his brother and says, go get water for Sayyida Ruqayyah and for Asda. The poets say that when Mola Abbas exited the tent, he went to one tent where the children were lying. He said the state of their thirst was so great they had begun to collapse on the floor. They couldn't even choke because the dust had got to them. He said that I saw one girl come to me and said my uncle would never deny me water. She said, Abu Fadl al-Abbas, go bring me water. They say that when Abu Fadl al-Abbas began to go to Furat, Sayyida Ruqayyah runs into the khayma of Abi Abdullah. She sees the alam of Mola Abbas from a distance. She looks at her father and for a second the alam begins to disappear. Ruqayyah's heart jumps. She says, my father, tell me, is my uncle okay? Is my uncle safe? He says, Alhamdulillah, he's reached the water. But the next scene that Hussein sees, he does not know how to explain to Ruqayyah. He sees the alam begin to shake from left to right. And from right to left, it's as if the alam is about to collapse. Ruqayyah knows that if Mola Abbas still has his hand, that alam would never fall. They say that a scream comes from Furat. Assalamu alayka ya Mawla Abi Abdullah. Hussein begins to run to his brother. He runs as he's on Murtajiz. Murtajiz stops and sees the left arm of Abu Fadl al-Abbas. Allahu Akbar, Murtajiz, he says, take me to the body of my brother. Murtajiz runs and collapses. Abi Abdullah sees the right arm of Abu Fadl al-Abbas. But it's at this stage that when Murtajiz says, I can't go any further, Hussein descends from his horse. He goes towards a body whose head has been split open, whose back has been broken, who's covered in arrows. The body tries to stand and says, let me defend myself. He says, Ya Abbas, don't you recognize the voice of your brother? Don't you recognize the voice that spoke to you in the cradle? Allahu Akbar, I leave you with this last line. Of all of the requests between brothers, the most gravest and heartbreaking requests happen between Imam al-Hussein and Mola Abbas. For we find that Mola Abbas says to Abi Abdullah, he says, I ask just two small things from you. One, clear the blood from my eyes so that I can see your face before I die. Because yours was the face I saw when I entered this world, I want yours to be the face when I exit this world. The second request comes from Imam al-Hussein. He says, all my life, brother, you called me your master. When I stood, you stood after me. When I needed something, you brought it to me. But I ask you before you leave this earth, let Hussein hear Abul Fadl, call him brother. The voice comes, Assalamu alayka ya akhi ibn Rasulullah. Assalamu alayka ya akhi ya Aba Abdullah. Assalamu alayka ya akhi ya Hussein al-Shaheed. Peace be upon you, oh my brother. But my last request is this. Abi Abdullah says, tell me, don't take my body back to the Khayma. I said to Ruqayya, I'd get her water. The poets say that when Mola Abbas went into the next world, every Shaheed was given the water of Kauthar. But Abbas was the only one that was saying, let me collect the water for Ruqayya.
मालिक की बारगाह के अंदर बरादरी यानी सैयद रज़ा मेहदी नज़ारा पेश फरमा रहे थे। मालिक इनकी तौफीक़ात में इज़ाफ़ा अता फरमाए। एक नारे सलवात के सहारे के साथ आगे आगे तशरीफ लेके आ जाएं। खुशनुदी मोहम्मद वाले मोहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि बार दीगर आवाज़ बुलंद सल्लल्लाहु मोहम्मद वाले मोहम्मद वाजिल फरजम बनाना माशाअल्लाह। मैं निहायत मुद्दबाना मुल्तमिस हूं बरादरी मानी साहिर से तशरीफ लेके आए बारगाह मोहम्मद वाले मोहम्मद अपना सलाम पेश फरमाए। खुशनुदी मोहम्मद वाले मोहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु
एक जोरे कमर बिरा गाजी हथ कमर ते सैयद दया देख जोरे कमर बिरा गाजी हथ कमर ते सैयद दया देख जोरे कमर बिरा हथ कमर ते सैयद दया मंज नमक तल तू पुत्र ज़हरा दा मंजना मकतल तू पुत्र ज़हरा दा हर कदम ते कज़ा दा साया देख जोरे कमर बिरागा देख मुड़ के ख़याम दे पासे कल दीवानी चादरे ज़ैना देख मुड़ के ख़याम दे पासे कल दीवानी चादरे ज़ैना और उजरी देवी रखारा है थोरे उजरी देवी रखारा है अपना पर्दा बनाया देख जोरे कमर बिरागा मान पर दे दाहर बतूल मनी है संभाल लगी रिदा अपनी मान पर दे दाहर बतूल मनी है संभाल लगी रिदा अपनी सुनदा वंज खैमे आवे तू गाजी सुनदा वंज खैमे आवे तू गाजी वाहे जाबा ने आया देख जोरे तू है बोबे दो हम शक्ल दीवे साथ तेरा है साथ बाबेदा तू है बाबे दो हम शक्ल दीवे साथ तेरा है साथ बाबेदा तेरे चेहरे तू देख दे देना तेरे चेहरे तू देख दे देना करबला कहीं सफर में पाया देख जोरे कमर बिरा आखे अब्बास तोर चालसी मैं होनो तेरी सकीना दा आखे अब्बास तोर चालसी मैं होनो तेरी सकीना दा जाम खाली दो चाके कई बारी जाम खाली दो चाके कई बारी मैं कुमासूम आया दिखाया देख जोरे कमर बिरागी हथ कमर ते सैयद दाया गंज नमक ते तू पुत्र ज़हरा दा गंज नमक ते तू पुत्र ज़हरा दा हर कदम ते कज़ा दा साया देख जोरे कमर बिरागी हथ कमर ते सैयद दाया आखे अब्बास तोर चालसी मैं होनो तेरी सकीना दा आखे अब्बास तोर चालसी मैं होनो तेरी सकीना दा जाम खाली दो चाके कई बारी जाम खाली दो चाके कई बारी मैं कुमासूम दिखाया देख जोरे कमर बिरागी हथ कमर ते सैयद दाया
माशाल्लाह बरादर ईमानी साहिर अपनी बारगाह मोहम्मद वाले में नजराना पेश फरमा रहे थे। मालिक की तौफीकात में इजाफा अता फरमाए। मैं नहायत मदबारा मुल्तमिस बरादर ईमानी मोहम्मद शेख से तशरीफ लेके आए बारगाह मोहम्मद वाले में अपने हिस्से का नजराना पेश फरमाए। खुशनुदी मोहम्मद वाले मोहम्मद सलावत मोहम्मद वाले मोहम्मद बुलंदर फिर भी बुलंद तरीन सलाम
सामने शय के सामने शय के सकीना को तमाचा मारा सामने शैके सकीना को तमाचा मारा और शै को इस बात में शै को इस बात में खंजर से ज़्यादा मोरा शै